Whatever it is, it avails not. Distance avails not, and place avails not. I too lived. Brooklyn of ample hills was mine. I too walked the streets of Manhattan Island and bathed in the waters around it. I too felt the curious, abrupt questionings stir within me. In the day among crowds of people, sometimes they came upon me. In my walks home late at night, or as I lay in my bed, they came upon me. I too had been struck from the float forever held in solution. I too had received identity by my body. That I knew was of my body, and what I should be, I knew I should be of my body.
Hi and welcome. Today we have the privilege and honor to sit down with Aygul Charles. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure sitting down with you and just getting to know more about you and who you are. Would you mind just telling us who you are and where we are today?
Sure. My name is Aygul Charles, and I arrived in New York City when I was a child from Soviet Union. We are sitting in my partner's showroom in Dumbo, Brooklyn, where I also spent quite a bit of time in my childhood as well. And I'm very happy to be representing the borough, the message, and to be talking to you.
Absolutely. So I know your story is very unique, but also you had many hats. You started as a graphic designer, you are an attorney by profession, and now you are in interior design.
Yes, yes.
Can you give us a little bit of your journey and just tell us how you got to this point?
Sure. When I arrived in New York, I was a 12-year-old kid who didn't really know much about how to be in the city or how the city works. And then I went to Brooklyn Tech, which is a public high school here in downtown Brooklyn. And after that, I went to CUNY, which is the City University of New York, where I studied interior design. Mainly because I didn't really have I kind of fell into that, I guess, profession. And then after graduation, I had the pleasure of working for the Macaulay Honors College as their head graphic designer. And then a year into that experience, I realized that I wanted to learn more about the law of the United States. I, as an immigrant, personally experienced how important laws are in this country. And so I wanted to learn about it and help in the process the needy ones once I graduated. And after graduation from law school, I started practicing immigration law. I volunteered with some well-known nonprofits on the West Coast that do immigration advocacy work. And in the process, I also do pro bono cases representing some folks that couldn't afford to get their own lawyers. And fast forward a couple of years, I met the love of my life, and he is from architecture background. He's a very talented architect and designer. And now and he opened a showroom here in Dumbo called Ordinary, the Dumbo Design Showroom. And he has taught me about the interior design world, and I'm now doing that too. Sorry, it was kind of long.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to sort of just go down the journey with you.
Yes.
Because success is definitely not just a one-way street.
Sure.
There's so many avenues on your way to success, and I don't even think that success is one destination.
Yes.
I think it's an ongoing journey.
Yes, I do have that philosophy that we living in 2022 have the luxury of being fluid with what we want to do in life and how we want to devote our time. So just because someone started out as a graphic designer like me doesn't mean that I couldn't also be a lawyer. It doesn't mean that I couldn't be also an interior designer, or maybe, you know, some professions, of course, I won't be able to do, but the world is your oyster.
Absolutely. And what do you think is your biggest motivation to sort of pivot from one profession to the other?
I think for me, it's I'm genuinely curious how things work, and so I'm genuinely interested in how interior design works as a concept and how it improves people's lives in a very tangible way, and you know, different philosophies and all of that is very exciting to me. So I'm doing it because I want to know more about it and be good at it.
Lovely. Yeah. I know, like, we've had many conversations, and one of the things that's always stood out to me about you is that you have such a heart, such a passion, and then also just the way you work in general. It comes from a place of just love.
Thank you, appreciate that. That's
no,
very kind.
absolutely. It's definitely something that I've always admired in you. If you could give us some of your really good stories, like not stories because it's real life, but
yes.
Just a story that maybe has stood out to you where you've helped someone
Sure.
as an immigrant, you know, coming to this country.
So having been born and spent my first 12 years in Soviet Union, I, you know, pay attention to what goes on in that part of the world. And one of the very unfortunate things that happen in Russia is that people who are openly gay or even in the closet, and people who are part of the LGBT community, not only risk being ridiculed, but they actually are at real risk of being like tortured, harmed, and imprisoned or even killed. So, and that's something that I have always thought was unfortunate, and I do pro bono work representing young men from LGBT community who seek shelter in this country because they come from places where they cannot be who they are, they cannot fully express themselves, because to do so would result in severe harm. And I personally, you know, we have laws in this country, asylum laws that protect certain individuals, and such as some of my clients, and a lot of times when they arrive to this country, they have nothing. They don't have any family, they don't have any money, they don't have a right to work, and they cannot afford private attorneys. And so I, through the help of some of the nonprofits in the city, get linked up with these kind of people, and then I help them, and then when we win, it's very rewarding and it's life-changing. It's great to see that someone's life changed my help. It's always great.
Wonderful, and thank you for that, for making a difference in the world, you know?
Yes, thank you.
Now that you're in the interior design space, can you highlight maybe something that has really, how this world has sort of amplified who you are as a person?
Sure. Since I started doing interior design, I gained new appreciation for the little things. And at the time when I was a lawyer, I would say it would be beneath me. And now I realize that small things is one of the ways you can easily improve your life and other people's lives instantly. And we're talking about like colors, you know, that you surround yourself with, how neat your place is. Mm-hmm. You know, how much thought you put into your outfits and your belongings. All of that really play a big role in your overall well-being, and that's something that I'm learning more about.
Can you tell us sort of what really motivates you, you know, just in general, in terms of like Aygul the person?
Okay, well, I'm actually a very competitive person.
Okay.
So sometimes what motivates me is seeing other people doing something really great and me thinking that I could do just as good or better. So that's one way sometimes I get motivated. And other times is being competitive with myself. I do believe that life is a journey, and self-improvement, being better than you were yesterday is a big mantra of mine. So in that sense, I'm always, you know, wanted to become really good at whatever I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. Anything that you would like to highlight outside of being an attorney, interior design?
I will say that I'm very proud and fortunate to be working out of Dumbo, Brooklyn. And like I said before, growing up and going to Brooklyn Tech, just very, within walking distance from Dumbo, it's really reminding me of my earlier time in my life and how important Brooklyn is as a borough. And I'm very excited to be part of a design movement here in Dumbo and to be in the growing Dumbo Design District. I think there are very great things ahead of us, and I'm very excited to be part of it.
That's wonderful. It's so interesting how life really works, right?
Oh yes.
Because, like you said, you started here as a kid. I know that you actually went and studied out of New York, came back, and now you're right back to your roots.
Yes, exactly. It's been like a long journey to come back.
We're happy to have you back because Brooklyn definitely is changing, and it's nice to see that you actually making that change as well.
Yes.
Being part of the change. So
it is
congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell us how we can find you? Your Instagram or your website? You want to just tell us?
Sure. Best way to reach me would be through Instagram, and my handle is my first name, Aygul_Charles, CHARLES.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us in your showroom and for being a part of a journey that we honor as well. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Ciao.
The fact of life is, if everyone is happy with you, then surely you have made many compromises in life. But if you are happy with everyone else, then surely you have ignored many faults of others. Life is not perfect, but choosing to be imperfect and live in is courage.